Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name's Johnny Rashman. Right, let's get straight into it. Conor Benn claimed the victory last night, stopping Chris Van Heerden in 2 rounds. Right. You've got to ask yourself the question, did Conor Benn learn anything from last night? Did he learn anything? The answer is no. Now, I'm not here to bash Conor Benn, right? I'm a Conor Benn fan. I'm from the UK. I'll always back the UK fighter. But what I pride Fight Club 24/7 on is we don't bullshit, right? Doesn't matter if you're from the UK, Thailand, Malta, wherever you're from. If you're feeding me bullshit, I'm going to call it out and back it up with valid arguments. Now, people may say you're hating on someone. I never hate on anyone, right? I always give opinions backed up by arguments. I might be passionate and I might drum home an opinion, but it's certainly not hate. And if I'm feeling someone's bullshitting me, right, I'm going to call that out and I'm going to back it up with valid arguments. And you've got to ask yourself the question with Conor Benn, is he one of the top welterweights in the world? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. And this is the problem, right? Eddie Hearn is doing a great job. He's doing an absolutely masterful job as a promoter, right? Because the last 2 fights were tin cans. It was as simple as that. It was to drum up the noise, get the promotion going, get people talking. He knows Conor's an explosive fighter, right? And everything went to plan. He wanted Conor to take these guys out, Algieri and Van Heerden, make him look good, create that noise, right? Which has worked. But from a boxing point of view, you have to say, has he developed in the last 2 fights? Is there anything to suggest that he's developed? I have to say no, because what can you take away from those performances? Fighting inactive older men, right, at the end of their careers, that's not teaching you anything, right? Last night we were told this is the last fight before Southpaw, and this is the fight. And on the broadcast, Laura Woods kept saying, this is the last fight before he has a shot at the world title and he's going to set himself up for a world title shot. But as I said in my pre-fight video, like that fight last night just wasn't that. Like that wasn't a fight to tick all the boxes and say you're ready for world level. It was just a tin can. No matter what the name is, you have to look at the inactivity, right? And Eddie Hearn said after the fight, he said, with inactive guys, you've got to pounce on them. But why are you putting him in with inactive guys? If you have serious aspirations about him being one of the best fighters in the world and being a world champion, you want him to gather that experience. You want him to go to the later rounds. You want him to see what happens if he doesn't blow someone out. What happens if a world-class fighter starts out-jabbing him and out-boxing him? Right? And we've not got those answers to those questions. So apart from noise and promotion, for me, the last 2 fights, I actually think he may have gone backwards. Now, what I mean by that, he's developed as a fighter. Right? I'm not saying that. But what I mean by he might have gone backwards is he's not developed. He's not gone forward with his development. Those 2 fights haven't pushed him forward. It's pushed him backwards. Because when you're going in and you have no respect for your opponent, right? You know he's inactive. You know he's an older guy. You can throw everything and you're not worrying about what's coming back, right? And that's what was happening last night. There was no jab. There was absolutely no jab. I don't know if he even threw a jab in the whole fight. It was just swinging, clubbing shots. And when he was in the pocket, not a lot of head movement. Just he was there to be countered. And he was just hooking and just overwhelming his opponent. But a good fighter will tie him up, will bust out a jab. What's he going to do when he's getting a double jab in his face, followed by a right hand and a left hook to the body? How's he going to deal with that? That's what we've not got answers to. And this is the problem with Conor Benn. Now, he has improved. I'm going to keep saying he really has improved, and he's overachieving, right? Let's not talk bullshit, right? We all thought he was a bit of a gimmick at first, right? We thought just son of a legend. I think he got dropped in his first in one of the fights earlier on. So it looked like he wasn't really going anywhere, but he's knuckled down. He works hard. He lives the life, right? You've got to give him respect for that. But at the same time, you're a professional fighter. It's your job, right? But when I'm really looking at, has he really improved? To world level standards, no, right? There's no way he's a top 5 fucking welterweight in the world. It's just not the case. I don't even believe I don't know if he's top 10. You know, it's the ranking systems are they're just unbelievable. I mean, how was he top 5 in the governing bodies? Like, who's he beat to justify himself being there? It's not just Conor Benn, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. It's just making a mockery of the sport. It really is. Because you're not putting fighters there on merit, on ability, you're putting them on who their promoter is and how much tickets they sell. And I get it, it's part of professional boxing, but it makes a mockery of it because he just isn't top 5 welterweight, is he? He just isn't that guy. Will he go into that? I don't know. I have my doubts about Conor Benn, and you have to look at his training team. His training team, his trainer Tony Sims is such a good trainer, right? Such a good trainer. And if you watch him speak, he very rarely overloads things. He doesn't say Conor's ready for the top 5 welterweights and all this. He doesn't say that. Right? He's very, very honest. It's Eddie Hearn, which is his job as a promoter, to beat the drum. That's his job, is to beat the drum, is get everyone talking. But the last 2 fights, I mean, the opponents are getting worse. And to call Amir Khan after the fight, right, I thought it was very bad form. I thought it was completely disrespectful. I don't think it had anything to do with Eddie Hearn. I think he knew it wasn't a great look. I think Conor will regret it because it's just disrespectful. I mean, I know he keeps saying that he will bash anyone in front of him and he's one of the best welterweights in the world, but it really shows your mindset. If you're calling out an aging fighter who lost his last fight, right, with all due respect, we all love Amir Khan, legend of the game, but he's shot to pieces, right? He is at the end of his career. He's finished as a fighter, right? So why are you calling him out? I don't understand. If you have aspirations to be the best in the world, why are you calling an old aging fighter out? It's not an achievement to knock Amir Khan out. It's actually dangerous. Right? Amir Khan shouldn't be getting in with young fighters like Conor Benn. It's fucking dangerous. I thought it was a really, really bad look. Kell Brook I have no issue with, right? Absolutely, that ticks the box. More than happy with that fight. No problem. He comes through that. I will change my opinion slightly. I will. Let's see how he deals with Kell Brook. Kell Brook has the ability to outbox him. Make no mistake about that. He has the ability to outbox him and possibly take him out even at this stage of his career. So that is a fight I would like to see. But the Amir Khan thing, it was bad taste. It was a bad look for boxing. I don't understand what he wanted from that, and you could see Khan was a bit uncomfortable. I thought it was very disrespectful. Bad taste for me. Where does he go next, Conor Benn? Look, we all know the elephant in the room is Avanician. He won't talk about him, right? That is a logical fight. If you look at my pre-fight videos, I've gone on about it. I've screamed and shouted. I've shouted, I've screamed, right? It's the fight we all want to see. Right, Eddie Hearn knows it, but he doesn't. It's the risk. He knows that that's a fight that Conor Benn may not win. But I don't understand why he doesn't put him in with him, because even if he loses, you know where he's at, and if he wins, happy fucking days, then you can really bang the drum. But for me, it's just the last 2 fights, just money grabs. It's just money grabs for me, and you've got to put a bit of perspective, because Ricky Hatton, right? I'm from Manchester. Ricky Hatton's a god. But really, if you look at Ricky Hatton's career, it was very, very carefully manufactured by Frank Warren, who's an expert at doing that. You can't really do it in this day and age. Eddie's trying to do it with Conor, where you have 20 fights, 25 fights, or 30 fights, then you fight a world title. You can't really do that now. It's now 15 fights, 20 fights, not 30 fights type thing. So people want to see you step up pretty quickly. Right? And really, he's not at that level. So I can understand these fights. But the problem is, when you're selling him as one of the best welterweights and you're mentioning Ugas and Spence, it's just fantasy island stuff. He's nowhere near ready for that. And what we'll get is, we'll just get aging fighters, and then Eddie will maneuver him for a world title shot, whether it's a vacant world title or whatever, or whether it's an eliminator, final eliminator. But what we'll get now is Conor Benn's got a world title shot. He's not going to take risks. He doesn't need ammunition. He's on the cusp of a world title shot. So that's how it's going to be sold to us now. But boxing fans can see what's going on. I don't understand what was the point of last night. The Southpaw. What's the point of fighting a Southpaw and wanting experience? If you know the geezers fought 1 round in nearly 3 years, and you know you're going to blast them out of there, and you have no respect for what's coming back, the guy might as well have had his hands tied behind his back. That's it. It doesn't matter if he was Southpaw, Orthodox, whatever you want to call him. That wasn't a development fight. You need to put him in with a southpaw who's going to give him rounds, who's going to test him. That's how we know how he deals with a southpaw, not by putting him in with an aging fighter who was just going to blast out. There was no respect. There was nothing. He was just hooking. He was just going in there, leaving his chin exposed and just falling into some shots. Yes, he's improved, and I can say, oh, it was such an explosive performance. Well done, he's ready for world level. But I'm not going to bullshit you. I looked at that and I wasn't that impressed because pre-fight, we all knew this was what was going to happen. When you're fighting old fighters, inactive fighters, you're just going to pounce on them, aren't you? The guy, you could see Van Heerden was breathing heavily. He just had nothing in the tank. And you can't look at that performance and suggest that Conor Benn is ready for top 5 welterweight fighters or any other of the elite names in the division. He's just not. The names that were mentioned, Eddie here mentioned Maurice Hooker, Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner, Danny Garcia. I don't think they'll put him anywhere near Danny Garcia. Absolutely not. The fight they'll try and put him in is with Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner, or Maurice Hooker. Those are the 3 names for me. We'll go nowhere near Avanesian. And I mean, DAZN put another silly post. Who do you want Conor Benn to fight next? And Ortiz and Avanesian was there. It's not going to happen, is it? Nonsense, right? That's not going to happen. Mikey Garcia, well, I watched the fight, yeah, but I'm not that bothered to see Mikey Garcia fight, to be quite honest with you. I mean, even when he fought Errol Spence, he's a world-class fighter, Mikey Garcia, but I have to have my doubts, actually, at the weight, at welterweight, because to get absolutely outclassed like he did against Errol Spence, I mean, it was men against boys. That's not, I know there's a weight difference, but if you're elite level, you're not losing every second of every minute of every round. That fight was really, really men against boys. It was just a complete one-sided brush over. So, and then we saw him against Martin. He's coming off a loss. And this is the thing with Conor Benn, the fights. Vargas, he was coming off a loss. Van Heerden, no contest. Granados, he was coming off a loss. I think he was anyway. I know there were losses against Sean Porter Sebastian Famella, not Granada. Sebastian Famella was coming off a loss. I know it was against Sean Porter. And the other one was a loss against Virgil Ortiz, I believe. But they're coming off losses. Do you know what I mean? They're not. You want to put him in with a guy who's active, who's coming off wins, right? Not losses, and has not been inactive for 2 years or 2.5 years. We want to see him. We really want to see how he is developed, because those 2 fights aren't development fights. They're not. They just aren't development fights, right? It's as simple as that. And they're the type of fights that actually put you back. They don't get you ready for world title fights. Apart from promotion and noise and all this, from a boxing point of view, the last 2 fights, Algieri and Van Heerden, have put him back. I've put him back because you've learned absolutely nothing. You'll learn more in sparring, right? And that's the truth of it. So what's going to happen when he does step up? Is he going to be out of ideas if someone starts really ramming? If he fights someone with a jab, with a fast, sharp jab, especially a southpaw, how's he going to deal with it? Because we all know he's explosive. And look, he's explosive. Listen, if he fights anyone, even world level fighters, he does have an element of danger. Of course he is. He's a banger and he's explosive, right? But when you don't have a jab, world level fighters will negate it. Will just negate you easily. Will easily just see what's coming, right? They'll take you through. They'll get you past the first 4 or 5 rounds, and they'll just negate everything you do. And then we need to see what happens when he runs out of ideas, when his swinging shots aren't landing, right? When he's getting countered. What's going to happen then? What's going to happen when he fights someone with power? What's going to happen if he gets put on it? If he cops one on there? There's so many answers that need. So many questions that need answers. There really is, and. Look, I want to give him some type of credit. You know, it was a good finish, even though it was like a right hand, it was lunging forward. But it was explosive, and we want to see knockouts. And I am a Conor Benn fan. I do want to get behind him. I am behind him, but I'm not going to bullshit you and make out this guy's an elite fighter, who's world level fighter. He's not. Till he changes my mind, which I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. I'd love to be sat here and say, you know what, he is a world level fighter. I've watched boxing for many years, and there's only so much you can do with someone like Conor Benn. Because don't get me wrong, he's a ticket seller and he'll make you money, but you've got to really carefully manufacture that. And this is the problem. But the Avanesian fight, that's what we want to see. He won't mention Avanesian's name. I can't understand why Eddie Hearn won't put him in with him. It's a ready-made fight in England. Don't be saying that he needs someone who's going to sell out an arena when you're putting him in with Algeria and Van Heerden. There was enough noise last night. If there was noise for Van Heerden, what do you think Avanesian will be like? That will sell out. You put it, I don't mind that being on pay-per-view. I have no issue with it being on. You want to put it on DAZN pay-per-view? Put it on DAZN pay-per-view. No issue. I don't care. I just want to see it. We all want to see it. That's the name that everyone wants to see. Put polls out. I said on my pre-fight video, I said put a poll out and put Mikey Garcia, Ortiz, Guerrero, Broner, Avanesian, and Neil Marsh, David Avanesian's manager, actually did it. Surprise, surprise, who won? Avanesian. So Eddie Hearn should do it. Go and put a poll out. Get Conor Benn to do it. Instead of asking who do you want me to fight, let's put a poll out on your Twitter and see. And put Avanesian in there. Even with Adrian Bruner and names like that, even with Mikey Garcia, we want to see the Avanesian fight. It's an absolute guaranteed barnstormer. It's such an interesting fight because it's two people who are going to clash, going to get in there, right, and put everything on the line. It's such a good fight. Make it. Will it happen? Absolutely not. What's next for Conor Benn? What next for me will be Adrian Broner, Mikey Garcia, Morris Hooker. Those three. I can't see anything else, to be quite honest with you. Let me know what you think. Were you impressed last night? Do you think I'm being harsh on Conor Benn? Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know.